An example of this would be the case of the Marcoses, where until now we're being asked to forgive and forget all of the atrocities that they have done against the Philippines, the number of corruptions, the number of human rights violations they have committed. And that is why we put a premium on it by saying we never forgive them by never forgetting the things that they have done. Because once we forgive them, we forget all of the atrocities they have done. We no longer take into action the very impact that they have done into our Philippine society today. The number of the drowning of dead, the number of alterations and marks that they have left into our Philippine society today. And so, to conclude all of the things stated earlier, we are saying that we are putting a premium on forgiveness by putting in high value, forgiveness into thought, and to really reflect on why we should forgive someone because of their sins. Because it enables us to let go of the emotional baggages for both the sinner and the forgiver. And as even as stated in the very famous song from Frozen, you let it go because you can't hold it back anymore. And also, once again, we are also championing the fact that forgiveness helps us. Really, premium forgiveness helps us practice the very justice, helps us uphold justice through the legal justice system that goes on to our society today. And we are proud to oppose by saying that we put a premium by never forgiving and by never forgetting. And that's it.
Here.
Thank you, Member Hall, for that speech. Now we'll go government side.
Madam Chair, Mr. Speaker, the motion is calling for how important having a premium on forgiveness is, or how it is important to forgive someone despite having all those atrocities done to you, right? It was correctly characterized by the opposing opposition when they said that to put premium on forgiveness is to give higher value to it, is to give higher importance to it. That sometimes, even though that something was done to you, something that really impeded on your human dignity, it is morally upright, it is morally right to forgive that someone, because at the end of the day, you produce better relationships or harmonious relationships. All right, Mr. Speaker, that is a false picture to paint, because having a premium on this for forgiveness leads to justification, leads to gratification of what sins have been done in the past. This was specifically mentioned by my government member when he said that with forgiving someone, the cycle of the sins, the cycle of atrocities and the sins happen again in the future, because having a premium on it, putting premium on it, means that these people who committed that crimes are going to be not accountable, are going to be not, let's say, responsible for the crimes that they did, right? Because at the end of the day, people will forgive me anyway. People will forgive me because they really value it. They really put a premium on it. That's why they're going to gratificate it and they're going to justify it, regardless of whether how immoral that was, right? Those were the major contentions of the opposition side. First of all, on my issues on whether or not premium on forgiveness is equal to growth. Now, both sides can agree in this debate that the government has told us earlier that growth, that forgiveness is something to you acknowledge the mistake, or that you forgive the person by letting the past go in, by letting the sin go at the past. That right? In opposition side, they told us that forgiveness leads to growth, wherein the people can change for the better, wherein the person who committed that mistake can do something about it in order not to do it again, right? Those are all good contentions. But at the end of the day, let's take a look at the comparatives, right? Because the government claims that yes, we do not put premium on forgiveness on the people, and then the opposition claims that okay, we forgive, then people change. We don't see how that kind of development or that self-development change is only exclusive on their side of the house. That was poorly engaged by the opening opposition. Because self-development can also happen on our side of the house when they realize that the gravity of their mistakes, the gravity of the things that they have done has negative consequences, which makes me think that I will not do it anymore again, right? Because when you gratify it, it can happen over and over again. Because cutting ties on our side of the house makes it feasible for people for that kind of realization. Wherein on their side of the house, they're trying to tie up knots, they're trying to tie up loosen knots or broken knots, which at the end of the day would not create a more harmonious relationship, and breaking the system, breaking the what's wrong with the system, right? Because the best case coming from the opposition side is that when people forgive, people are going to be harmoniously in relationship with each other, or like they're going to be working with good functionality. That is really nice. But on our side of the house, with no ties, we can see that sometimes it's really selfish for us. Sometimes it makes us feel bad. It makes us seen as the bad person because we are not able to forgive that person. But then we teach the people who committed the mistake that this person is not going to be doing it to another person anymore because it has larger consequences. Because a tie was broken with my previous let's say boyfriend or girlfriend, right? What specifically came from our side of the house is that my member of government was telling us that this should not be only looked at a very simple or a surface level wherein people can just forgive each other, right? Because we have to take into consideration how that gravity would be in depth and analyzed when we see it in the bigger picture. Because in the bigger picture, when we glorify criminals, when we make them feel that their sins are justified, when we make them go out of prison, we tell them that these sets of scenarios can happen again because I can just serve 1 year in prison, right? So that kind of scenario will not happen when the premium on forgiveness is eliminated on our side of the house. For that.
So you're saying that we're not gonna give justice to the criminals who have served their sentence in prison. So you're saying that we're not going to forgive them once they have served their life in prison.
The reason why we are letting criminals out of prison is not because we have forgiven them. Because as the government, they want that person to have that positive changes, or they want to have these positive impacts in their development. We are not necessarily forgiving that. Because when you tell that you're raped, the law is forgiving you, not the person itself. The person cannot forgive you with that. Now, secondly, we think that on the second issue on whether or not premium is equal to responsibility, because we think that responsibility is a major contention here. That are sinners going to be responsible for the things that they have done? Because at the end of the day, this premium of forgiveness would just benefit them, right? Because we think on our side, on the government side, that responsibility is equal to when there is a responsibility given, or that you are, let's say, in prison for perpetually, you're able to realize that these things you have done have that grave consequences, which you can see in the real picture. Because as my member of government has clearly stated a while ago, that when you think about it in the bigger picture, when we put premium on forgiveness, we see that it has effects, especially on family, which was exclusive on our side of the house. When the family is broken, people see it as okay, because at the end of the day, I can just marry another person, right? I can just forgive that person, that kind of person who abused me, that kind of children who neglected me, that I can look for another family, right? That kind of responsibility is not seen on your side of the house, which we think is more than valuable, rather than putting premium on it, right? We think that selfishness is sometimes conceivable to be okay, but at the end of the day, it makes people realize that this gravity can have larger effects in the bigger picture, which is why we're very proud to oppose.
Thank you, Government Whip. Now to finish off the debate, calling on all.
Here.
Before taking anything into action, you have to think something through. Especially if you have a principle that you highly value, or in other words, placing a premium on it. But first, a few recap. The opening government said that if we put if we place premium on forgiveness, it does more harm than good, and here. And while on the other hand, that isn't that it does more good, because it is a way for people, if someone forgives them, it will lead them to self development, to maturity and growth. The others value compensation. The other, an eye for an eye. Doing something bad, doing something with equal to what the other has done. On the other hand, that doing this, that we shouldn't do that, because we should champion maintaining relationships with others.
Here.
Going back to what I said earlier, if we put premium on forgiveness, we will think something through before doing something into others. For example, I'm going to say something rude to Vivian, but if I put premium or forgiveness, I have to think this through. I will just not think that it's fine, she's going to forgive me eventually if I say that to her. But if we put premium on forgiveness, we will know that this is a high price for us to have or to gain. Also, just like our host said earlier, that forgiveness creates standards, that creates standards on. That creates standards. But before doing something, please signal and forgiveness. Help us reflect more on the action that we're going to do or we're going to do to the other person. And holding a grudge to another person, it's actually holding a grudge to another person hinders us or gives us a difficult time to move on or to go forward. If we forgive someone, if we put a premium on forgiveness, it will help us it will forego all the emotional baggage that we are carrying. Instead of chaos and compensation and eye for an eye, don't you think that placing a great value on forgiveness will actually not lead us to chaos, just like what I said earlier, but leads the world, society, or even an individual to a better place, because an eye for an eye or putting a high value on compensation will actually create much more chaos than actually forgiving someone and taking advantage of revenge. That's my
Here, here.